Hello and welcome to another video. In this video we're going to be making shaders look 10 times better with just the in-game settings. So let's get right into it. First things first that you want to do is you want to go and set up the composition of the shot. So the framing and the zoom and all that stuff, just so then the angles are right and it looks nice on its own. I also like to set the FOV to 30% or 30 whatever, because it makes it nice and tight and really it looks the best, in my opinion at least, and it's generally good practice to do so because it's not very distorted. And then I also like to use the rule of thirds. I'll go put that up on screen to show you how to use that well. And that is a composition technique used by professionals to go and make images that look nicer. So now let's actually get to the shader part. For this tutorial I'm using Rethinking Voxels, which is probably one of my favorite shaders because it has great flexibility and has block light shadows, which, if you don't know what that is, it's shadows from like torches and other things, which is really nice. So what I did is I just reset it because I had settings set up previously, and then I set it to ultra, and then now I'm going and thought it was a bit too bright and I wanted to really emphasize the light coming from the window. So I went around and removed all the berries from around the cave to go and make it dimmer, but I made sure to leave some because I did like them. This way it would really emphasize the light in the window, which is what I wanted to do because it's all up to you. You don't have to follow certain rules or anything. Just do what you want to do and what you think is nice, because ultimately it's your picture, it's your build, you can do what you want with it. And now it's already looking a lot better. Eventually it'll look very nice. Next I went into the camera settings to go and set that up in ways that I like. I usually like more bloom, especially when there's this, especially in this kind of environment where I want it to feel like cozy. You want more bloom generally, so that's what I tried to do. I added some bloom and I also added lens flares, which didn't really do much because that's more for the sun. Then I went to world blur and I set that up. I set it to depth of field and tweak the settings to go and have there be a lot of blur, and then I put the house in focus because that's what I wanted to be in focus. That way it really emphasizes the build, because if it's the only thing in focus, then it emphasizes it because it draws your eye to what's in focus. You're not going to look at the blurry part, you're going to look in the in focus part, which is what I wanted to do. Next I experimented with the visual style, but eventually settled on reimagined because it is what I like the most, and that's what a lot of this is, experimenting to find out what you like more and what you don't like as much. And if you have a texture pack that goes and has PBR, that can make your builds look very interesting, but I don't, so I turned on generated normals, which just makes normals based on the textures that are already there, and I turned on coded textures, which goes and adds more variation inside of the pixel, which I generally like the look of. Then I experimented a bit with the water settings because there was a bit of water in the corner and I wanted that to look neat, and just because it was interesting to work on. Next I went into the color grading section, which goes and is for changing like the brightness and all those things about the picture. And I generally like darker images just because it's my personal preference, so I immediately went and darkened that all the way down. I also like more saturation and more saturated images, so I turned that up for both the sections. And then I went into the color grading section. Now, it's really important to turn on the color grading, especially at least in Rethinking Voxels. I don't remember if other shaders have the same thing, but I forgot to do that. So I realized luckily while editing, and I went in and fixed that. So right now it's not going to change anything, and I'm going to have to change it again back later, and I did record it, so I'll go and play that right about now. How I changed it is I went and first turned on the color grading setting, and then I went and just to check on how it looked, I went and, because it was originally really red, so I turned that down. I wanted it to be warm, so I turned down everything to still be a bit warm, but not so drastic. And I turned up the red and blue values, so then they were more default coloring. And then I thought it was still a bit too even, so I went and popped up the red to red value again. And how this works is it's just saying, okay, so this pixel is red. I want this red pixel to be even more red. So that's how that works. It's a complicated and confusing at first, but you'll get the hang of it eventually. So that's all for this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you subscribe and like the video because it helps out a lot, and leave a comment on what shader or what Minecraft vanilla structure you want me to make look better in the next episode when I go and make another video on how to make shaders look much better, because yes, they can look good, but yes, you can make them look much better.